No longer news. It's no longer news that President Tinubu have cracked the code for Nigeria progress. It is no longer news that President Tinubu has put Nigeria back on track. No wonder he said from day one, hit the ground running. We can never forget it. Subsidy gone, fuel subsidy gone. Students can go to school. Things are working. Lagos-Calabar Road, the multiple exchange rate, our Naira stability. It is now very clear that President Tinubu have cracked the code for the success of Nigeria. President Tinubu, the transformational leader, is about to take Nigeria out of the third world country to a developed country. That is why the whole world is standing still. America is talking about Nigeria. Trump is, every other person is interested in Nigeria because for the first time in the history, a black man has now cracked the code to bring Nigeria out of the third world country. For the first time, a black man has now cracked the code to making sure that the resources in Nigeria can now be used. For the first time, President Tinubu is now having investment partnership with even China and others to make sure that our mineral resources will now be used, harnessed, and used in Nigeria for the progress of our country. We are no longer selling raw materials. That is what President Tinubu is about to do, and they are not happy about it. If you know what you are doing, it's time for you to support President Tinubu. Professor Mulumba of Congo once said that if the West start complaining about your leader, that means that leader is doing well. But if they start praising your leader, you should be aware that something is wrong. But in the case of Tinubu, we can see that the West, they are not happy because President Tinubu have cracked the code to bring Nigeria out of the third world country. Ignorant people, the population, the so-called graduates that are joining forces with the evil men or with our enemies to try to demarcate Nigeria lacks proper knowledge and education or political education. That is why we will need to educate them the more. But I can tell you, no propaganda, no misinformation, Christian genocide misinformation, or any of those political games, or the northern model of kidnapping. I'm talking about the North. You are aware that anytime there's election, the North always sponsor criminality, also always sponsor kidnapping of their brothers in order to use as a campaign against a sitting president from the South, from the southern part of Nigeria. It's the same model that they use to remove or unseat Goodluck Jonathan. But this time around, it's not going to work with President Tinubu. But I can tell you that President Tinubu himself have cracked the code. Nigeria is back on track. There's no need of too much of argument because I know you argue too much, but what